Outdoor racing isn't something you just try. Not out here. You don't ease into it. You commit to it. Rookies start 150 feet back from the rest of the field, sitting there, watching it all unfold in front of them, knowing full well they're about to get thrown into it. And if you're looking to get your feet wet in this world, there's a reason people go to Rob. He's the one that gives you that shot. The real way, not the easy way. Class 6 boat racing is something different. It's tight. It's competitive. There's big fields, real racing. And it's one of the few places you can get in without needing the biggest checkbook. At 70 miles an hour, it's not about money. It's about skill, teamwork, and getting the setup right. And there's one thing you better understand. Rob's the only one on the throttles. He'll bring you in, give you a real shot at what it is, but you're not driving. You're learning. And if you don't tell him to back it down, it's going to feel like getting tossed straight into the wolf pack. You climb into a bat boat, the canopy comes down, and that's it. You're in. You're protected, sure, but you're committed now. But before you ever get there, you've already proven you can get out. You've done the dunker test. Upside down, underwater, no second chances, because out here, safety isn't talk, it's survival. And none of it feels real. Not until that first corner, 70 miles an hour, dirty martini on your inside, Logan's Heroes on your flank, and now you're fighting to hold your lane, rubbing up next to the pillow, hoping, just hoping, you're keeping your line at that speed. And then Lake Michigan shows up. Not flat, not friendly. It turns into a straight-up washing machine. Waves stacking on waves, cross-chop hitting you from every direction. The boat's not riding anymore, it's getting thrown. Every hit drives through your spine, snaps your head, and rattles your teeth. It'll beat you like it's got something to prove. Boats start dropping out. Parts are breaking. Guys are getting hurt. Legs busted. Drivers getting tossed on top of their throttle man, and you're right there in it, hanging on. By the fifth lap, your arms are shot. They feel like noodles. Grip's going, shoulders are on fire, and your whole body's taking a pounding. But there's no letting up, because everything's happening too fast to even think about quitting. The adrenaline takes over, keeps you locked in, keeps you going when your body's already waving the white flag. And by the seventh lap, you don't even know it's the last one. You're still fighting every wave, every hit, every unpredictable punch Lake Michigan throws at you. You come within inches of missing a pillow. That'll cost you $3,000 if you clip it, and you don't even have time to think about it. And if you're lucky, you make it through. Maybe even pull off a third-place finish in a race that didn't let everybody walk away. Somewhere in all that, it clicks. If you want to keep doing this, it's going to take more. More strength, more endurance, and definitely more seat time. You're going to need to hit the weights, spend more time in the boat, because this isn't something you just survive. It's something you earn. And then, just like that, it's over. You cross the line, Rob eases it back, tells you to bring the boat into the middle of the course. And like it's just another day for him, he says, "Congrats, you just finished your first offshore race." And that's when it really hits you. This isn't just a ride. It's one hell of an experience. This is earned. And this is As the Prop Turns, with the ultimate boat racing experience. Welcome back to As the Prop Turns. Thank you for showing up today with us. I've got my guest today, Rob Goodwin, at the Ultimate Boat Racing Experience. Rob, how you doing?
I'm great, Chris. How you guys doing?
I can't complain. Winter's finally over and spring's here, so that's
It's 80 degrees today, and it was 17 on Monday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been one of those seasons.
It's definitely been a long winter, I think, for a lot of guys. So, and with
Yeah.
everything going on, it's I think everybody's ready for some sunshine.
Everybody's ready for some sunshine and some racing.
That's it. All right, Rob, for the people who are watching at home that don't understand what it's all about, tell us what the ultimate boat racing experience is. We've had this commercial going now for about a month, and I'm getting questions. So finally got you nailed down. Tell us what the ultimate boat racing experience is all about.
So the ultimate boat racing experience is a concierge boat driving experience to teach people how to get into offshore racing. And these are the real race boats, and there's no test boats or anything like that. And we go out and we provide the professional throttlemen. Some are past world title holders. Some are just really good experienced guys that are racing. A lot of them, it's me. A lot of time it's just me in the boat with them. And I'll put just about anybody over 16 years old who gets their medical and get their dunker, and they can come out and race with me. And we give them the lay of the land. We provide the boat. We bring it to the race site, and you can come out and we teach you everything about offshore racing.
Okay. So for those folks that might be a little nervous, you threw one curveball word in there. They've got to get their dunker. Can you
Yeah.
explain what that means?
So we are a restrained cockpit, closed cockpit race boat. Even though we race in bracket 600 under Formula or APBA racing, and then under the new IHRA, will be in bracket six. Um, in order to race in a canopy boat, you have to be egress certified out of a capsule. And you'll get in a capsule, you'll have air, they'll have scuba divers around you, you're seat belted in, they turn it over in a pool, they turn it over, and then you have to show that you can breathe on a regulator and then unhook yourself from the seatbelt, open the hatch, and then egress out through the hatch into the pool and just show that you're capable of escaping a boat that is turned over if you're in a canopy boat.
That's quite the process. I've done it. Even in a pool, it's still a little bit like, okay, it's just all about
Yeah.
being calm.
Yeah, we all make fun of it. Every year we have to do this. Everybody has to get recertified every single year. And every year, every one of us all lining up, going through the class again, are all nervous because it's the one time you're going to go upside down,
Right.
right? And
Right.
unlike when you get in a race boat and you go racing, you can kind of put that off to the side and hope and pray that it never happens and you never get put in that situation. But when you're in a pool, when you're getting ready to go in the pool, you're about to go get into a simulated drowning environment. And you got to, like you said, just stay calm, take breaths on the regulator. You're getting plenty of air, and no matter what, there's plenty of help to get you out of the boat.
Right.
So, but it is part of the process, and you do have to do it in order to race with us in the ultimate boat racing.
Would you say that's one of the biggest hurdles for a first timer getting into a boat like this?
No, I don't think, in my experience, I mean, I've been doing this particular job for about 3 years now, and I've only had one person that showed a level of anxiety for this particular thing. I think the biggest is like everybody else. It's a rookie start, getting out on the line with three, four, five, six boats side by side, and going into that first turn at speed when they've never even really been on the race course, right? I mean, we do spend time with people. We do take the advantage of testing time at these events in order to give them some seat time, but it's nothing like going into the first turn.
Right.
Even in a rookie start, when you start 100 feet or 100 yards, whatever it is behind them, you still don't. It's still not the same. It's still a tremendous amount of adrenaline for the new person.
I can agree with
So
that. Yeah, my wife Amber said she thinks you're a little nuts because you'll get in the boat with just about anybody, including her. And she got to feel all that adrenaline, Michigan City, and it opened her mind to what boat racing is and how much
right.
different it is with your hands on the wheel and somebody else on the throttle.
Yeah, and we extended our boats to go compete in vintage and historic class racing. We went to, we're going our series, a new series that was just introduced and was approved by APBA is called V Limited. So we'll have our own class going forward with APBA.
Nice.
We also got that class approved to compete at vintage and historic events, and we got it approved to inboard events, hydro events, all these other events. Well, all of those events are all a single person in the boat, right? An inboard hydro is one guy, an unlimited hydroplane, that's a one person, right? There's in offshore, it's two people. There's a driver and a throttle with segregated duties, right? Those are the rules of offshore racing. And all these guys that race in these other boats are like, man, I do it all. I do it with a foot throttle and I can drive the boat. And I was like, you've never been in an offshore boat. You don't understand what all's going on the water at speed out in the open ocean. It's not something that you can really do and be competitive unless you're somebody like Reggie Fountain who did it for years.
Yeah, well, and that makes a lot of sense because people don't understand once you turn the corner, just for instance, Key West, and you come out of that harbor, it's a whole different world on the outside. And there's a lot going on the boat.
Yeah, Key West. I mean, you bring up Key West. Key West is an awesome race course because it almost has every single water environment that you will meet throughout the racing year, right? So you race places like Lake of the Ozarks. It's a lake. You go up and race Lake Michigan. I mean, Lake Michigan could look like a lake one day, and it could look like Atlantic City off the coast the next day. So Michigan City in Sheboygan and even up on Lake Erie outside of Cleveland and East Lake and those guys, those are great water conditions also, but they're generally pretty consistent once you're at the race site.
Right.
Key West is not. Key West brings every type of water during every lap.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
So before you got into this ultimate boat racing experience, take us back a second.
Mhm.
What made you transition and say, hey, this is what I'm doing? I know you bought all of this after the late Chris Rendell passed away. Great guy, great idea, great story with him itself. And it's got this great program that had, I think, like nowhere to go. And then you came in.
Yeah. So I am prior Coast Guard. I've sailed around the world. I was on an icebreaker and went to Antarctica. I worked on harpoon missiles, 76 millimeter guns. So I'm a rocket scientist by education. And then I took that to race with Chris, and I raced with Reggie and with Fountain Powerboats in the beginning. And then I started racing with Chris and got my national title and my world title in 2003 in a one design offshore boat down in Orange Beach, Alabama. And then I was married. I got a couple of young kids, and just racing just took up too much time. So I had to take some time off. Chris called me a few years back and said, hey, how do we get you back into this and take off some time? Let's go do this. Let's build another boat. Let's get going. This was all just after COVID. And so we did that. And then unfortunately, Chris passed away, and I met with his family and his sister Stephanie and his nephew Andrew. They're massive supporters of Chris, and they're massive supporters of this program. And we all get along extremely well. And they've just been absolutely gracious in everything they've been doing for us and supporting me with this program. And I acquired the program and started rebuilding the boats and rebuilding the consistency and the idea that this isn't just come rent a boat and go out and go for a ride. I don't lease my boats out. I don't rent the boats out and let just anybody hook up to the boat and leave the parking lot or anything like that. I bring them to the race site with the team, and then and I provide the throttleman. So I mean, your wife Amber's making fun of me about just hopping in a boat with somebody, but I got the throttles in my hand. I mean, I can shut the boat down at just about any time. So um, the
It's
boats are extremely forgiving. You're racing at 70 miles an hour. You have a full canopy lid with big bottles of air, all this stuff. You're in a 6-point harness. You're wearing lifeline, life jackets. I mean, we have all the safety in the boats. And then and it just happened that when Chris passed, the opportunity came up to say, hey, do you want to keep doing this? I spent some time with God. I spent some time with my wife, and we made the decision, right? So this is what we're doing full time, trying to get this program up and going. So in 2024, we had 5 rookies. And then this past year in 25, we had 8 rookies. And I've already got 3 signed up for 2026. So we hadn't even had our first race yet. So this is all about introducing somebody new into offshore racing, and quote unquote, get your feet wet with me.
Well, and I'm glad you did pick it up and continue it because your boats are amazing. And I had a chance in Michigan City to really look at one and get the feel and look at it. And you've got state of the art equipment. You've got all the restraints. Everything's top notch. So I was really comfortable when I saw what you two were going to do because, again, canopied boats, it's a little bit different. She did the Dunker. There's a lot more to it. And I know, you're getting in there with somebody you don't know. What's it like? You get in the boat, you're throttling, you got a new person. Um, the instruction you give them, it's got to be crucial. She said you were great. That's all I can say is that she said, and he just told me where to put it, and she just did her thing. And you guys rock and rolled. I mean, technically, you finished second. I know
Yeah.
there was a penalty, so it took a third, but something about didn't know there was a parade lap.
Yeah,
It's
I
the only
didn't
story
know it was
I
a parade
know.
lap that day.
But I mean, it's just amazing what these little boats do and how much knowledge came out of that.
So Aki Manafelt designed these boats, back in the middle 90s, early 90s, and then brought them over to the United States as the 28, which is the open cockpit version of this style of boat with the wings. And I think it was 94, 95. And then it was a company started here in the United States called Armada, and Armada is how Chris Reindl got involved with the boats. And the story is that Aki designed this version of them, the 24, with the suicide doors on top, or the gullwing doors on top, on a napkin in a bar for his son to race this style of boat in the North Sea over,
Wow.
above Norway, Sweden, and that area. So it was designed to race in big water. So that's why it's just such a great racing platform because they're overstable, they're overbuilt for what we're doing with them.
Right.
Right? You're not putting this boat on the edge when you go out and go 70, 80 miles an hour racing.
No, not at all.
It's
What
not
a cool
scary at all.
story,
I mean,
though.
don't get me wrong, the boats fly, right? I mean, and when you see them fly, they typically always fly level.
Yeah.
There's actually about a 5-degree hook in the bottom of the boat at the very, very transom, and it works as a permanent trim tab. So we don't have trim tabs on the boats. We just trim the drive in and out. But this permanently built trim tab in it, every time the boat leaves the water off of a wave, it's obviously being pushed up in the back and the bow's being pushed over so the boats fly flat. And that we spend a lot of time out of the air. And there's a lot of people out there like you guys spend a lot of time in the air. How's your back? How do
Right.
you feel? Are you getting beat up? Absolutely not. Because the boat is flying and it's landing flat on the whole bottom of the boat.
Right.
And the guys that hurt their backs, or when you see the boat land and the transom hits and then it slaps the boat down,
Correct.
and that's what's hurting their backs. And we don't fly that way. We don't land that way. So believe me, I mean, I mean, I never get hurt running these boats.
Yeah, I'll be
So knock
honest,
on wood.
the Speedster I'm in with Dietzen, it flies the same way. It's a Larry Smith design boat built by Arsha Marine, and it's really nice the way it flies. I've enjoyed it. And it's a sit down, which is
Yeah.
different for me because I mean, I call it an open canopy, it's quarter canopy, but I wasn't used to the sit down. So,
Yeah.
that was kind of nice.
Yeah. Oh, I loved transitioning from a bolster seats racing in a open cockpit boat to go into a full canopy, sit down, strap in race cockpits. I love this so much better.
What kind of
So
power are in your boats?
currently we are running the Ilmore 570 HP, which is the V8. I know Ilmore is known for its V10, but these are the V8s. They're 570 horsepower. They're 454 7.4 liters, fuel injected. Yeah. And I typically, well, I run anywhere from a SCX upper to a Bravo XR upper, but I run the Bravo 3 dual prop as the lower on all the boats. And the reason we do that is because the back of this boat, the chine from chine to chine is only 6 feet. So it's a very narrow boat in the water. And that torque, that horsepower torque at 570 horsepower, it spins the boat over to the side,
Wow.
right? If you use just a regular Bravo prop with a single propeller, it doesn't matter if you're right hand or left hand, it makes the boat lean all the way over, almost to the wing. So you take that out, put the Bravo 3 on there, it totally negates it, completely negates it. The boat flies perfectly flat and straight and level. Plus, we're only racing at 70 miles an hour. You get this added acceleration by having two propellers in the water, as well as you get the boat only weighs 3,500 pounds. So
Okay.
we're not putting a whole lot of pressure on the drive line, the propellers, and it's like I said, just a little Bravo 3.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
So, with this class, the speed limit is 70 miles an hour?
So in bracket 600, we race at 70 mile an hour. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you say
And
concierge service, so let me just so everybody understands, you'll if somebody wants to get involved with the ultimate boat racing experience, how do they do that? And then what does that involve?
so go to boatracingexperience.com, or you can call me on my cell. It's all on that website. Get a hold of me. I'm the one who'll answer the phone. And then we will start a conversation and we'll kind of assess some of your racing history. And we'll talk about how that can apply into how this is going to apply. And a good example of that is Amber. She transitioned into offshore racing really well because of her experience with motocross, right? She's had some motocross experience with the motorcycles, and the same kind of concept needs to be happening in a boat. You always have to bring the center wheel, the boat, back to center line when you're in the air. And a lot of people don't race that way. Car racers don't race that way. Motorcycle racers, like street racers, don't race that way.
Right.
But folks that are motocross do because the motorcycle's leaving the ground. So when we have these conversations prior to it, so I can help them transition into here's the experience you're bringing to the table. Here's how we can apply it in the offshore racing. And this is what you're going to start to look for as we get better at this.
Right.
You go back up. One of the things you brought up about, the teaching side of this, so I've spent a tremendous amount of time focusing on the learning aspect of all of this. This is the whole point of it. I mean, I've got guys who want to race with this all year long, and we've done team events. We do teams that race with us, but I truly enjoy teaching somebody new about offshore racing. Right? I mean,
Right.
if they've never done this, they have no experience. And I have tremendous amount of friends who have cigarettes and Donzies and formulas and fountains and all this stuff, and they go out and they run and they do poker runs and they're all excited, but their whole life changes when they come out and get in a race boat with me.
I agree with
So
that. That's what happened to me at a younger age, and
yeah,
it's like a sickness. It gets a hold of you. Uh,
yeah.
a lot of fun, adrenaline. I mean, it's just a blast.
Yeah.
So, where can we see the boat ultimate boat racing experience this year? What does your guys' schedule right now look like?
So we're going to St. Pete. Be racing St. Pete with Mike Sadlon. Sadlon has got tremendous amount of history with APBA and offshore racing and inboard racing, as well as the vintage events and all that. He will be the driver at that event. I am signed up right now. It looks like with a rookie driver in New Orleans. Then Cocoa Beach is open, so we're looking for racers for that event. And then we'll be at Lake of the Ozarks, and I've got a couple of people I'm talking to there. And then, of course, we're going to launch the new class, the V Limited class, at the APBA in Atlantic City. And I
Okay,
definitely
great.
have one rookie for that event already.
Excellent.
So,
And I know you had talked to me about corporate events. So if somebody
yeah.
comes across this, they want to learn about offshore racing, but say they own a big company like AT&T or T-Mobile
Mhm.
or even Good Boy Vodka. He wants to have a corporate event and he wants to have some boats and they want to bring some people to do some team building. What does that look like?
So we've done this many times, and it is part of the pillars of this business is to be available for corporate events, right? And a corporate event is we'll bring three, four, five of these boats, depending on the crowd that we're going to be servicing and the location. And we will help you scout the location. We will help with acquiring the insurances and the permits and everything needed. And it depends on what kind of event and how elaborate you want to make the event, right? If we're just going to do some riding around, we don't have to get into a lot of the details of how difficult that is. If you're going to be put on a full fledged race, then we're going to go a different way. But we'll bring the boats, we'll put them in the water. We provide the throttlemen and the drivers, and then we can either do a riding event or we can do a driving experience and a driving school, and we'll put it on for 30, 40, 50, 60 people. And we've done that in places like Mission Bay in San Diego, Lake Mead out in Las Vegas. They've done an event in Lake of the Ozarks. And then we have this really awesome place at Paradise Cove in Orlando. The lake's called Lake Bryan. And we were kind of setting that up. There's 17 convention centers in Orlando. So there's a tremendous amount of opportunity for us to be available as another perk or add on for these conventions down there in the Orlando area.
Well, what a great event that would be for your team members of your company to take them out and let them
Yeah.
do a ride along program, and not just a ride along, a driving program. So
Yeah.
I think that's just fantastic. One other thing I wanted to bring up earlier, you had said something about faith. Reverend Jim Black.
I love him.
Yeah,
Got to have him there. You're looking over your shoulder if you haven't seen him yet. You know, you start approaching the driver's meeting, you start getting things going in the morning, and you're like, I haven't seen Jim Black yet. You
he's
start getting a little
our
nervous.
pillar.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm gonna catch up to him this weekend in St. Pete coming up, so
Good. Good. We'll be there.
I'm glad I got you nailed down finally because I know you got a lot going on with the boats and the company and all the calls that come. So if somebody wants to do this, it's boatracingexperience.com
Yep.
and they're gonna get you directly.
Yep.
I
Yep.
don't see how it could get any better than that.
So, and and what we charge for these event, for this is, it could be expensive for some folks, right? If you're just getting started, what we recommend is that you can rename the boat. You can get your own sponsor, get Joey's Pizza, get Tim's Towing, whatever. Get them to sponsor you, help sponsor, get a local sponsor for you, or your own business. Take it out of your marketing and sponsor. Rename the boat, put some stickers on the boat. It'll be registered under that sponsorship name and help you alleviate some of your costs and still be out and come out and race.
Sure.
And these are huge events. I mean, places like Michigan City get a couple 100,000 people at the event. I mean,
Absolutely.
so for anybody would pay quite a bit of money just to advertise at that event, and that's
That's
what
why I
you're
say
getting to
this
do anyway.
this is an excellent way for somebody to advertise
Yeah,
their company,
yeah,
spend a few bucks, and if you're the guy that owns the company, you could get in the boat and have a lot of fun, learn a lot,
yeah.
maybe get addicted. Well, that depends. I know that, my wife's been talking to some girlfriends over the winter, and they're trying to put together a little couple ladies that could share some duties and figure out how to fund it. Cause I know it's not cheap.
Right.
Concierge service, boat racing, well, it's going to cost a couple dollars. But
Yeah.
again, what a great way to advertise.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that has made it tremendously easier for a lot of new people who just, I'll give you an example. I'm short myself, but I'll give you an example. I've got a gentleman right now, and he was going to buy a race boat. And he's like literally about to pull the trigger. And I saw one of your ads on Facebook. And then I looked you up on Facebook and I saw what you were doing. And then I called you and we start talking. And he's like, tell me what you got. So I went through my spiel. We're on the phone for probably half an hour talking back and forth. And he's like, you won't believe this. Like, he goes, I have a whole list of everything that I wanted to talk about. And you brought up every single thing without me even asking you. So it's obvious this is what you do. This is obvious you've already been doing this for a while. And he's like, I'm not going to buy a race boat yet until I race with you. And then once I get the experience and I go out to these races, now I'll choose what class of boat I want to buy or if I just want to keep racing with you.
I think that's a smart decision because I remember the day you called me and said, "Hey, is your wife still, bad as you say she is?" I said, "I think so." And you explained what was going on and, we pulled it off, made it happen.
Yeah,
And I know safety is number one for you.
absolutely.
You and I talked about that. Um, what do you think about the safety teams? It looks like they got a lot of good safety guys put together coming up for all the series out there. So I don't think there's any concerns this year. I think it's up to each individual owner to make sure their boats are up to par. Absolutely, bottles full of air, all that. If you're
Right.
enclosed, but where do you stand when it comes to safety and a new guy getting in the boat with you?
I mean, we obviously work with both sides of this whole safety aspect, including the new leadership at IHRA. I have no problem going above and beyond and getting my boats up above the recommended level of safety, right? So there is the Laven Foundation has a certain criteria for canopied boats. Our boats basically exceed that, right? We have half-inch polycarbonate glass, we have 6-point harnesses. We go above on everything. And anytime anybody wants to question anything that's in our boats, I am the first one to just open the boat up and say, "Get in it and let's go see," right? You tell me what you have a concern with. So I have no problem walking folks through it, even the safety. But like I said, both sides of all these safety folks, they all endorse what we're doing. They know that I'm available and I will make any changes, that make sense. Right. I mean, we're not made of money, so I can't just, go out and rebuild boats just because we have a higher standard.
Right.
But we meet and exceed all of those things. So all the Coast Guard standards are in place. And then we have all the safety stuff that we do in place as well.
Well,
And I know there was a lot of controversy about a lot of that, but I have felt comfortable with just about everybody who's been a part of offshore racing the last 3 or 4 years. I haven't had any issues with any of the safety teams.
no, either have we. They've always had a good group wherever we
Yeah.
went. So,
Yeah.
and and speaking about that, Key West, I know you had an unfortunate fire down there with one of the boats, and
What?
you had fire extinguishers and people helping, and saved the boat and fixed the damage. And I know that's a progress you've been working on all winter.
Yeah, unfortunately, the boat that's here in the background, the Cigar Monster, how unfortunate of that boat to catch fire. We had a push lock hose oil burst, sprayed oil all over the entire engine compartment, and for whatever reason, it ignited right in the harbor. The guys in the boat, Savlon, and then one of my sponsors, Constance Marina, Dave Landwire, who's been a friend of mine from a fountain dealership for over 20 years. His son Josh was in the boat. He's one of my crew members. Was driving with Mike, so they safely crawled out of the boat. A lot of folks ask me why I don't have fire suppression inside my engine compartments. I had an unfortunate incident about 20 years ago in a boat where I was working inside the cockpit or the engine compartment of a boat, and the halon system went off, and it sprayed halon all inside the bilge of this boat. And I left it open. I went back a couple hours later. I was doing something, I don't remember what it was, starter or water pump or something like that. And I was inside the boat. I was working, and I started feeling lightheaded. And then I got up out of the boat, and by the time I got to the ground, I passed out. And
Oh
I was
wow.
laying there on the concrete outside the shop all by myself, no one around, and woke up laying there on the ground. So I am not a proponent of a fire suppression system in an engine cockpit or in a cockpit, because there's no way to breathe.
Okay.
And this is a very tight environment for my boat
Hold on one
specifically.
second.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
My cord came unplugged.
Yeah,
That's why you have a producer. All right. I think we're okay. So that fire that happened though in Key West,
yeah,
I mean, that could have been bad, but again, you had, everything went good. People helped, sprung into action. I was
yeah.
over by the cranes and saw it, and that was my thing. The 604 boat. My
I
wife
know.
loves that boat.
So, they used the two fire extinguishers we had and tried to put it out, but you had to wait till the oil burn off is basically what had to burn up first.
Right.
And then, the guys there with that other boat and sprayed the water on it. I'm not going to go through all of it, but the boat's already been fully repaired. We've re-glassed everything. It's already been repainted,
And,
and we're in the process of re-rigging it right now.
and you've got a great
Again,
fleet of
working.
boats this year too.
What's that?
You have a great fleet of boats this year too available.
Yeah, yeah, we're getting there. We're working with another engine manufacturer right now. We're in discussions about another 454 platform, another LS program, along with a ECU and a fuel injection program. Because the V limited class, and one of the things, like I was mentioning earlier about this teaching, is what I want to spend more time is teaching people how to race and not have to throttle the boats. I know you talked about having the penalty in bracket 6 because we broke out at one point, right?
Right.
Well, as a throttleman, you're looking at an iPad and you're trying to hold a speed. Well, then I'm not looking around and I'm not coaching and then I'm always keeping my head in this iPad. And
Right.
I wanted to eliminate that. That's why I recommended and I offered my class as V limited. And we're going to be GPS managed speed, and the throttleman just can hold the throttle all the way up, and then it'll just get to a certain speed and stay there. Now, that's completely illegal in offshore racing, as any of the rules are, excluding now our class. This will be a test class to see how this can work. But that being said, now it doesn't matter. The boat can only go 70 miles an hour, no
Right.
matter what the throttleman does. And I can focus on looking around. I can focus on training. I can focus on keeping these people, keeping them safely going in the boat.
That's great. I think it's tremendous what you've taken on and what you've built and kept building on what Chris had started. You've taken a huge leap of faith, as you said, and I'm glad you stuck it out because I've watched you grow for the last 3 seasons before I started this little platform here, and you've come a long way.
It's definitely a lot of work. I mean, Chris had a reputation, and unfortunately, one of the bad sides of the reputation was that the boats weren't consistently running, and that takes time and money. And sometimes you run out of money, right? I mean, we all run out of money at some point doing this, unless you get some really good sponsors. You got to get some really good backing. But that's the good thing is we've spread our fingers into multiple things. We've got multiple avenues for getting more racers into this sport, and we spend a tremendous amount of time going back over these boats, trying to make them consistent, right? I mean, everything is overbuilt in these boats. There's nothing skimped out because I can't afford to have them breaking down, right? I
Right.
need them to finish every single race. It may not win, right? And that's okay. But as long as it's safely finishing the race, then everybody's got the experience out of it, right? And you got to go out there and compete, right?
Right.
And that's just a blast.
Well, I think it's great what
Uh,
you're doing. I think it's a great way to advertise for somebody that wants to get in the sport. I think 16 years old and up, I think this is an excellent opportunity to
Yeah.
get their feet wet, so to speak, and see if it's something they really like or not, because it's a commitment. And again, concierge service. So they're not seeing all the hard work you're putting in and the hours, which I know are endless. I know you've got your hands full with, and gosh, we manage one boat. I could imagine having 3, 4, 5 boats that you've got to get prepared. And I see you come to the races and you 2, 3 boats, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of work. And the good thing is, like I was mentioned earlier, with this new V limited class making us available, what the idea though is to have the boats available for regional racing. We know that part of the expense of this business isn't necessarily the boat. A lot of people can manage a boat cost or something like that. But
Right.
what it's hard to manage is the time, right? If you got to be at a race on Thursday and you can't leave till Sunday night, now you're not back to work till Tuesday. That's a 5-day adventure for somebody who's driving from Jersey to New
Right.
Orleans or Michigan City down to St. Pete or something like that. And that's a huge expense, not only from a monetary side, but also from a time side.
Well, that's what I love
All
about your
right.
program, though. Your program,
Yeah.
just like for my wife. I mean, hey, hey, I'll see you Friday in Michigan City, Chris. Make sure she does this, this, and this. And that was the end of it. I mean, she showed up and you had her name on the boat. We didn't talk about any of that. I mean, you went up and above and
Yeah.
beyond, and you presented a service. And I'm here to tell you, 110% of that was right up front. So
Yeah.
hats off.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, like I say, you've supported me in what I do, and I'm just giving you honest feedback. You went up and above and made that she'll never forget that experience. I mean, my God, she bugs me. Her and her girlfriends, they want to do it. And I
Yeah.
know they're trying. I know they're
Yeah.
trying. So I'm thankful for guys like you that continue to come, whether it be IHRA or APBA or RWO event, that support the sport of offshore and want to be involved.
Yeah.
That's what we need. That's what this
Yeah.
sport needs.
And it's not just offshore. I mean, I want all of racing, and this is where I was getting at is RV limited class. We're working with an inboard event. I'm working
Well,
with a hydroplane event. I'm working with a vintage event. It's in September in Madison, Indiana. It's not the Madison Regatta 4th of July. It's the next. It's the vintage event in September. But our class will be racing at a vintage event,
so
and we
that's
will be
what's
leasing the seats out. So we
yeah.
want more people to get involved in racing. It doesn't have to be at an offshore event.
And that's what I'm saying. That's great. That's where, I mean, honestly, I mean, that's where the IHRA or whoever they should be advertising at these other events.
Yeah.
Now that you've managed to do that, you're taking an offshore race boat. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's only 24 foot, but you're taking offshore to the lakes with these vintage events. These guys got to love that. Have you
Yeah.
participated yet?
Yeah, we did. We 2 weekends ago we ran at Tavares. Again, this is a shakedown for and like I said, we talked about the orange boat having a fire in it, but the red boat at Key West, we blew a head gasket.
Okay.
So both boats had to come apart. Both boats had to get completely
A
rebuilt and
lot of work.
re-rigged. And Tavares, north side of Orlando, was a vintage historic event 2 weeks ago, and we had the red boat down there for a shakedown, right?
And how
So
was it
that's where
received?
we're trying to get. What's that? Everybody lining up. I mean, everybody lining up, wanting to see inside of it. What's this all about? This is amazing. I can't wait to hear it. I can't wait to see it. We put on a show just like everybody else, super loud motors and run around the course. And the
Yeah.
course was it was less than a mile. I mean,
That
we
had
could
to be a
still run it.
blast.
I don't need a 5-mile course. I don't need an
No.
offshore size course.
But it
So,
had to just be a blast to do. You're breaking barriers, Rob.
yeah,
You're breaking down barriers that need to be broke down, and you're bringing the sport of offshore to vintage events and other APBA events. And I think it's just going to do huge things for the sport. So again,
that's the
hats off,
plan.
keep going, and I appreciate it. I can't wait to see you in St. Pete.
I appreciate the help, Chris. I really do.
That's what this sport needs. We all need to help each other. That's my network. Everybody that knows me, my network. It's the people helping people. And
Yeah.
if we had more of that, yeah, maybe it'd be a better place after all. And that's all I want to do. I want to leave what I found better than what it was when I got there, and just continue to spread, good words and uplifting. It's all it's about. I mean, you can find
And,
enough of the
as
other
much
stuff. It's easy.
and as much work as we do on our boats, right? And we're available to help on everybody's boats. I mean, I had guys coming in missing safety lanyards. I've got a bag of those. I've got all the parts for Mercury 525s in my truck, all this different stuff, and just about I mean, I have just one truck and it is packed to the gills. But everything in that truck is available for everybody. I mean, I have guys borrowing life jackets, guys borrowing race logics, right? Your V boxes.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Well, and
so
I
another
think that's
thing,
what's great about
that
the
vintage.
sport, man, is
Yeah, that's what I
everybody
mean.
just, it's
I
family.
need everybody out there. I don't want to go race by myself,
Right.
right? I mean, I love winning, but don't get me wrong, I don't want to be winning by myself.
Well, that's what
So,
Brian from Twisted says. He says, "Man, I love the competition. Why do
right.
guys want to be so sneaky? Let's have some
No.
competition. Let's duke it out." He doesn't like to see boats way far apart. He wants deck to deck. They want to battle.
And that's part of this V Limited. That's part of this opportunity with V Limited is it's going to be, like I said, GPS managed speed.
Right.
The whole point is, and it's only my boats. It's only the bat boats, right? It's only these one design boats. And there's only one boat right now, the team first responder, Charlie and those guys, and Alan and Randy. That boat is still grandfathered into this class, but I have all the rest of the boats. And everything's going to be GPS managed speed so that the boats will be going around the course side by side. So it comes down to these drivers picking the right path, turning the right time,
Right.
navigating the waves, navigating the other boats, but it's only the bat boats. And the whole goal is to get us to end the race within boat lengths of each other. Right? I mean, can you
That's
imagine
awesome.
having 3 and 4 and 5 of these bat boats coming across the finish line and nobody know who won? They're going to have to go back and look at the video.
Right. I think it's
Right?
great what you're doing. Like I said, it's bringing awareness to the sport. It's just like Leanna Shadlow, Demon Bikini, and started She Drives.
Yeah,
I mean, that's huge for women in the sport. I
it
mean, that's
is.
part of it. And now, is it Alan Lawn Care? Billy's got a
Yeah.
new driver. He's got a female.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big year. And then I interviewed MJ, Marianne Stallcup from Safe Cash Racing. She started driving in Class 7, 14 years old with her stepdad, Scott. I mean,
Holy moly.
that's amazing. These
That's
kids should be
huge.
playing soccer, and they choose to go boat racing. So there is.
Yeah, absolutely.
I tease my girls one day, maybe.
Yep.
I appreciate your time. I don't want to keep you. I know you got a lot going on. You're getting ready for St. Pete. That's coming up this weekend. We're going to see you there. Hoping to see your boat on the podium like it should be, usually is. I know I got a
Yep.
trophy behind me from your boat. My wife was able to get. And again, it's memories she'll never forget. I wish I
Right.
could have got her to come on today, but she was busy with the girls and horses and trying to get ready. So, but again, thanks for coming, everybody. The ones you love, because it matters. And just remember, tomorrow's a new day, but it's not promised. All right. I'll see all you at the races. Keep your props turning. Rob, thanks for coming. I'm going to see you this weekend. Again,
Yeah.
thanks,
Thank you
everybody.
again, Chris.
Have a great day.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
The engines roll off. That hard scream fades down to a low rumble. And then, just the sound of water moving past the hull. For the first time all day, it's let you breathe. Your hands are still tight. Your fingers don't want to let go. Your arms are shaking like they've had just about enough. Your shoulders feel like they've been put through a meat grinder. Your back stiff, your neck sore, and your heart still pounding like you're halfway through it, not even done yet. You just sit there for a second. Let it catch up. 7 laps. 70 miles an hour, and a lake that didn't give you one clean break. Lake Michigan didn't care who you were. It didn't smooth out for you. It stacked waves, threw cross chop, hit you from every direction like it had something to prove. And every single time you either answered or you got pushed out of it. All the boats didn't make it. Parts didn't all hold up. And not everybody walked away the same. But you did. You stayed in it. You held your lane, you took the hits, and you kept coming. And somewhere between that first corner and that last lap, you figured it out. This isn't about riding. It ain't about looking the part, and it sure ain't about how much money you got in it. It's about whether you can take it, learn from it, and come back better. Because if you're sitting there right now, sore, worn down, and still feeling every hit, but are already thinking about doing it again, yeah, well, you're one of them now. And if you're going to do it the right way, you're going to get your feet wet and really learn what this sport demands, you go to Rob Goodwin. Rob Goodwin is the ultimate boat racing experience. That's where it starts.